morning. How's everyone doing today? Great. Well, thank you so much for coming out to Wolfspeed Supplier Day. This is the second one we've had here in Chatham County. We are so excited to be here today. My name is Leslie Buckheit. I'm the Senior Director of Indirect Procurement here at Wolfspeed. So a couple of things just to get us started. Please help yourself to refreshments. We have various tables lining the entire room. You probably know that by now. If you're looking for a specific department, please visit the front table up front, and we can help you find the best contact here at Wolfspeed for you. So our Siler City Factory is going to be a highly automated facility. This site is going to span over 445 acres. This build is going to consist of 8 buildings under one roof, more than 2.1 million square feet. So I'd like to pause there for a second to really put it in perspective. That is more than 36 football fields under one building. So this facility is going to increase Wolfspeed size here in North Carolina more than tenfold, and we're really excited about that. This site is the largest economic development investment to date in the state of North Carolina, and it will be the world's largest silicon carbide factory. Wolfspeed is actively engaged in various local and national programs and groups to ensure that our community is one that minimizes barriers to achievement. Represented on the slide, you can see various different groups that we work with. We are very proud to be strong in our community. One of the things we do at Wolfspeed is we really focus on our diverse and small business program. In fact, we have a dedicated table. If you are a smaller, diverse company, you can either scan our QR code and let us know, or back in the far left-hand corner, Joe, if you want to raise your hand to everybody, this is Joe Tarica. He is standing at our DEI table. And why is this important? Because Wolfspeed has a goal to have 5% of our spend be with small and diverse suppliers by 2025. For Siler City, we're pushing to try to make that 20%. So we are working really hard, not only directly with small and diverse businesses, but we are also including our Tier 1 suppliers to make sure that they too are contracting with small and diverse businesses here in the community. So we have a large list. This is just the indirect procurement that my team covers, but we have a huge list of various competitive bids that we are going to be putting to market. This is not even the full list. So if you want to get a full list, you can visit the front table, you can visit our construction management table or our facilities table, and we can talk to you more about that. We will be working on these bids over the next year, but we will be continuing to put out business for competitive bids as we move forward. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Dave McGregor. He is our Senior Director of Operations here at Wolfspeed, and he's going to be talking about our material operations.
Thank you, Leslie. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. All right. Yeah, so as Lily mentioned, my name is Dave McGregor. I'm the Senior Director of Operations in our materials business. Myself and my team will have operational responsibility for the JP, the Siler City site, once it's fully operational, and we've been involved in the expansion efforts to date. So I wanted to take a couple minutes to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be doing at the site and what we're going to be creating at the site. To give you some idea of our business, currently we're about 60% of the world's supply of silicon carbide, and that's out of the Durham factory, right in Durham, the headquarters in Durham. And the Siler City site is 10 times the size of that site, to give you an idea of the scale. It's well underway. I believe there are going to be some pictures later. You guys will see the site. And it's once it's stood up, right, we're going to, it's really designed to manufacture silicon carbide. And so silicon carbide wafers and silicon carbide epi, and then those will go to our New York factory and our Saarland, Germany factory to get processed into chips and devices. So, next slide. So just a silicon carbide, I'm not sure how familiar everyone is in the room with silicon carbide and what it is and why it's so cool. It's a semiconductor. At the end of the day, a semiconductor is a thing that sometimes conducts electricity and sometimes doesn't. So much like a switch, right, in your house, you can control it, right? You can turn electricity on, you can turn electricity off. And so where this is really used is in the silicon industry. And so if you've got a laptop, I feel like most of you have a laptop in here. The i7 chip that's in your laptop has 9 billion transistors on it. So if you imagine trying to put 9 billion switches in anything, it would take up a fair bit of this building. So that's really the advantage, is that you can do this on an atomic scale. And so for silicon carbide, it's a little more difficult than silicon. It's not a single crystal, so you have to arrange atoms in a very specific way. And that's really what this site is designed to do, is create 8-inch silicon carbide wafers with one polytype, a single polytype. What that means is arrangement of atoms. And there are over 200 different polytypes. And so getting atoms to arrange themselves in a very specific way over very large diameters in volume takes a fair bit of know-how. And that's really our claim to fame. And so the advantage of silicon carbide over silicon is that you can make power transistors with it. So you can switch large currents and large voltages very quickly. And what that enables is industries like electric vehicle charging. That industry is on an absolute tear right now, and that is what is really propelling a lot of our business. We make a lot of other products as well, but the power device market is just consuming a lot of more business. So we'll be manufacturing silicon carbide there. We manufacture crystals. We turn those crystals into wafers. We polish those wafers to an epi-ready surface, and when we do epi surfaces, we basically build the structure on the wafer, and we're going to ship those wafers up to New York and off to Siler, Germany. Okay. Yeah, and I'm going to hand it off to Chris Mixa. Chris is our Senior Director of Materials Procurement.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so Dave kind of gave a technical review of what we're going to be building in Siler City, and I do want to point out, today 60% of the world's silicon carbide supply comes out of our operations in Durham, and we're about to scale that 10x the size that it is today in Siler City. So that kind of gives you an idea of really what we're accomplishing here. Wolfspeed as a company, we're vertically integrated all the way from product design to final test and packaging. But the piece that's represented here in Siler is going to be that silicon carbide crystal and then turning it into those substrate wafers. Primarily to feed our front-end wafer fabs, but at some point potentially to go sell into the open market as well. My organization is responsible for all the procurement activity in support of not only the existing operations in Durham, but also the expansion efforts that we've got going on in Siler. So what my team procures is the capital equipment that goes into these factories, and that would be the equipment, peripherals, spares, services in support of that equipment. We've got the direct materials piece, so all the raw materials that come in to grow the crystals and to feed those factories. We've got any number of consumables that we consume as part of our process as well that falls under my purview. And then as Leslie mentioned in her update, one of the unique things about the Siler City Factory is it's going to be the first of its kind in terms of automation. And so we're doing something that's never been done before when it comes to silicon carbide manufacturing, which requires us to go do some very custom automation solutions to go make that happen. We've actually got a couple of partners here today, and I'll introduce those names here in a second. Yeah, so in terms of opportunities, as a company that's been in this business for 30 years, we've got a pretty mature and established supply base when it comes to our equipment and raw materials. So these are suppliers that we've worked with over decades to go develop and qualify. Of course, we're always looking to expand that pipeline, but what I would say is sort of near-term opportunities. We do have things in the area of precision machining, metal fabrication, parts repair. There's a lot of things as a vertically integrated company that we do ourselves today. As we go to scale to the size that we're looking to scale, some of those things I think we're going to have to look for partners that can go out there and help us do some of those things outside and outsource that where it doesn't make sense to keep it in-house. I think one of the benefits of being here today, and I've already had some good conversations, is meeting some suppliers that may have some core competencies that we're not aware of, that we may be able to go leverage and find some opportunities to go collaborate with. So looking forward to conversations today around that. I did mention on the automation space, we've got a couple of our key supply partners in Midwest and JR Automation that are here today. As they go to integrate these custom automation solutions in our factory, I think there's going to be opportunities to go work with them as well. So maybe not direct with Wolfspeed, but with some of our partners as well. And so we've invited them to be here today as part of this. So I can't get in front of potential suppliers and existing suppliers without talking about quality. And so I wanted to put this in here is just to give sort of a baseline expectation that we have for our suppliers when it comes to quality. And really it comes down to three things. One, it's good communication, right? One of the things that we want to make sure that we do internally is we want to keep any issues that we have as small issues. And that requires very fast communication, real-time communication, and we expect the same from our suppliers as well. We want to make sure that any issues that we have coming into our supply chain, we keep them as small issues and get those resolved. You know, structured problem solving is really part of our DNA, because we want to make sure that when we do have any kind of excursions or opportunities in our factories, that we drive the root cause and really understand the root cause and prevent those from reoccurring. And then last but not least is just a good partnership when it comes to quality. You know, we've got our expectations out there on our supplier website for any suppliers to go look at. We revise those from time to time, but really it's key to that. And for a supplier to come do business with Wolfspeed, it's a minimum expectation that we have. And then last but not least, I want to finish with ethics. You know, one of the things that's important to us as a company is really living our values, and we do business in an ethical way. We expect suppliers to do business in an ethical way as well. You know, we've got any opportunity for our suppliers, if there's ever a situation where you feel like things may not be handled in an ethical manner and you've got some concerns, we've got any number of ways to reach out and contact us anonymously. And so we would encourage you, if you run into those situations, we want to hear from you. We take this very seriously as a company, and so we want to keep that as an open door policy with our suppliers. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Wes Feynman. He's our Senior Project Manager at Whiting Turner.